Hi, everyone. Seems we've got most of our panelists. We're recording right now, but we're starting to let the participants in, so it'll be just a couple of minutes.
Stephanie?
Hi. Hi, Mark.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. Hey, are we okay to talk or do we need to wait?
We're going to start in a couple of minutes. We've got quite a lot of people coming in, so we're going to start in a minute or two.
I just wanted just a quick technical. Do you want me to share my screen or do you want to show the presentation from there?
Go ahead and share your screen.
Easiest on my end. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you know what you're doing. You've done so many of these. I've watched you nearly every week since March, so
Awesome.
I know you know what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you.
And they're conveniently leaf blowing outside of my office right now.
It never fails.
I know. Everyone's used to that.
Yeah, it's very true.
Okay, so we're going to let people stream in. So we'll probably start around 9:05. So just to let everyone know that's coming in, we've got all our panelists and we're very excited today. So we'll be starting in a couple of minutes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to mute the leaf blower.
Just don't mute Kelly.
No way. We would never.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good, Kelly. How you doing?
Good. Nice to see you. Everything okay?
As far as I know.
Good.
The legislature's here. What could go wrong?
That's a good one.
Yep. Hey, Stephanie?
Yes.
Hey, just a quick question. Are you going to have something else up on screen and then switch to me, or do you want to go ahead and put my slide up now? Or
we're going to have Sophia Eccleston from Florida Power and Light's going to speak quickly.
Perfect.
Sophia, did you have a slide presentation that you want to throw out?
No, I'm just doing a 2-minute sponsor message, so I'm good.
Okay.
Awesome.
So as the participants come in, we're going to give it 2 more minutes and start at 9:05.
Copy that.
Okay, everyone, we've got a good number of people that are Zooming in for our first annual all membership meeting. So the theme for today is the economic outlook for 2021. And don't we all want to read the future and know what that is? So through the magic of Zoom, we're able to have so many people join us today, which I'm very excited about. And it enables us to have a great list of excellent panelists. So I'll be introducing them one by one, but just to let you know, we've got Mark Wilson, who's the CEO of the Florida Chamber. We've got Kelly Smallridge, which is the CEO of the Business Development Board of Palm Beach County, and we'll have State Representative Mike Caruso zooming in a little bit later. Now, you'll be able, after each presentation, to ask questions. So just type them into the chat function, and we'll monitor them, and we'll make sure that you can ask questions of our wonderful panelists. So we're happy to have everyone here today. First, before we get started, I'd really like to thank our presenting sponsor, which is Florida Power and Light. And Sophia Eccleston is here, and she's going to say a few words. Sophia, wait 1 second, I can't hear you. Sophia, you're muted. Sophia, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
I was actually double muted again. Okay, all right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Stephanie. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak this morning. I only have a few minutes, but I would like to highlight some of the things that the FPL has been doing to help our communities during this pandemic. I know 2020 has been a difficult year for everyone, but our team has really stepped up, to help the communities all live, work, and raise our families. And for those of you that don't know, FPL provides service to over 5 million customer accounts, and that's roughly about 11 million people in the state of Florida. Recently, Gulf Power joined the FPL family, and Gulf Power typically serves the Panhandle area of our state. And with that, FPL currently serves about half the state of Florida. Since 2006, FPL has invested billions of dollars to harden our energy grid and make it more resilient to Florida extreme weather. We all know what hurricane season can be like in the state of Florida. This has not only improved our day-to-day reliability for customers, it's also allowed us to significantly speed restoration after hurricanes. And with more than 5 million smart meters and over 172 intelligent devices, we're able to predict and prevent power outages before they happen. And so that is one of the reasons why our bills are 30% below the national average in the state of Florida. So during the pandemic, 2020 happened, the pandemic happened in 2020, and we pivoted to implement our pandemic plan and turn our focus to help our customers. And so I just wanted to touch on a few of the things that we've done to help our customers since the pandemic has started. One of the things we did was back in May, we fast-tracked our fuel savings bills, and we gave a savings of about 25% decrease on typical residential customer bills. So in May, most of our customers saw a 25% decrease. And FPL and its sister companies have really stepped up on employees and donated over $5 million in emergency funding to help our communities. And for 6 months, we suspended disconnection for non-payment, and we're continuing to work with our customers who are experiencing hardships and struggling to pay their bills. We are offering payment extensions, waiving late fees, reconnection and field collection fees, and helping connect them with financial assistance with their local, state, and federal levels. And we also offered our customers who were behind on their bills, they have received over 15 million in bill credits. So this year we also launched, our Main Street Recovery Credit Program to help our local businesses, which are basically the backbone of our community. And many of you who are chamber members could benefit from this program. This program allows eligible small businesses to get a 10% credit on the energy portion of their bill. And eligible businesses include businesses that were inactive for at least 6 consecutive months after March 2020, new small businesses, and existing small business who are operating in a federal designated opportunity zone. So those are just some of the things that we have done for our community since the pandemic has started. There are many other things that we have done. And for those of you who may want to get more information, who may need assistance, please reach out to me. The chamber has my information and I'll be happy to help. And with that, thank you. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you so much, Sophia. We're always so happy to have your support, and we appreciate everything that you do for the Delray Beach Chamber and for all of the chambers that you represent around South Florida. Thank you. So some of you may know Mark Wilson, but some of you may not. So I'm just going to give you a quick debrief on what Mark does. So he serves as the president and chief executive officer of Florida's largest and most influential business advocacy organization. That's the Florida Chamber of Commerce. He leads a substantial political, lobbying, grassroots, and economic research operations at the Florida Chamber. And the Florida Chamber focuses on making Florida more competitive by creating a business climate that generates prosperity and high-paying jobs. He serves on a lot of things. He serves on the board of directors for the Florida Association of Chamber Professionals, Enterprise Florida, Leadership Florida, the Florida Chamber of Commerce, the Florida Chamber Foundation, and is regular participant in the Florida Council of 100 and serves as the national chair of the Council of State Chambers. And he's an active member of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. We're so excited to have him today. And I actually wanted to personally thank Mark and his team for everything that he's done for the chambers and for our members and for the business community since this pandemic started. They had weekly briefings that provided invaluable information for us and our members, which we diligently passed on at all times. So thank you, Mark, and your team for everything you've done. And thanks for coming today. Welcome.
All right. Well, Stephanie, thank you. And thank you to the members of the Delray Beach Chamber as well. I want to go ahead and share my screen here. And so I want to make sure you can see that. Can you confirm that?
Yes, we got it.
All right. So there we go. Okay. All right. Well, Stephanie, again, thanks. And I really appreciate also Kelly and Mike joining the call today as well. I think they'll add a lot of very important local context to what I might share. And Sophia, thank you also for what Florida Power and Light's doing. I think everybody on this call is focused on how do we make Florida more competitive and how do we grow our economy. And Florida Power and Light has the lowest rates in Florida, and somehow you manage to have the highest reliability also. I don't know how you do it, but I know, I don't want to speak for Kelly, but I know as we're promoting Florida, those two combinations actually help with our economic development strategy. So really appreciate what you and the FPL team are doing there as well. Okay, so big picture. I know we don't have a lot of time this morning, but at no surprise, what the Florida Chamber of Commerce focuses on is, how do we set the politics of, Republican, Democrat, Independent, and the White House and Washington off to the side and do the best we can to unify Florida's business community to make sure that the right things happen right here in Florida so that Florida can be the national leader when it comes to economic diversification, job growth, economic growth, and so forth. So later this week, as fate would have it, Stephanie, we have the Florida Chamber Foundation's 2021 Economic Outlook and Jobs Summit. So I'm going to give you some information nobody's seen before, and we'll be unveiling even more later in the week. Just as a point of information, we're the only chamber in the United States with a full-time chief economist. And we did that after term limits in Florida happened because we knew the business community makes decisions in their own business based on data and forecasts. And we wanted to be able to do the same thing when it comes to state policy on everything from litigation to taxation to workforce to international trade to protecting the environment. So with that said, Stephanie, I'm going to run fast through a deck that we've prepared. This is also going to be downloadable. I'll show you on my last slide, and I'll make my email address available on the last slide as well. So if anybody has a challenge or an idea that you'd like to talk to me about offline, I'd be more than happy. I'd be honored to hear your thoughts, as a matter of fact. So here we go. I mentioned, politics and how we want to set it off to the side. I start most of my presentations off with this political slide because it shows that even now we're a very divided country. These are Florida numbers, and we ask voters, how has Florida responded to COVID-19? And essentially what this slide says is that Republicans think that we've done a good job, that it's been about right, and Democrats think that it hasn't been restrictive enough. I'm not about to tell you who's right or wrong. The point of this slide is to say there are people on this phone call that want to grow Florida's economy, that want to help Kelly and me and Mike diversify our economy, but are divided when it comes to how has Florida been doing on this point. And so I simply wanted to start here to say, there's nothing I can say that's a magic bullet about how Florida can grow and diversify that's going to overcome the fact that we're a very divided country right now, and we can't even agree on some very basic things. I say that to say this, it's going to be up to all of you. It's going to be up to the business community working through local chambers and our economic development partners to really put all that aside and say, look, a job and growing the economy has to be what matters right now. And I hope to make that case to you today. All right, so big picture. If you don't know about the floridascorecard.org, I hope you will today. I hope you'll share it with your entire management team because a couple years ago, we created this as a way for business leaders, the media, and political leaders to all be able to have one scorecard, whether it's an economic development item you're looking at, or whether it's an education item, a taxation issue. So we have hundreds of metrics that measure how Florida's doing. But more importantly, if you look in the top right, it says view county data. All 67 counties have their own scorecard. So if you want to know how many days you've been in COVID in your county, or how many days since the first vaccine, or how many housing starts, or how many people are in poverty, or what your county's third grade reading scores are, it's all right there. And I really appreciate Stephanie. You know, many local chambers are really starting to use this data to help drive local decisions. But here's the point. We're now over 22 million residents. We're the third largest state in the country. You can see our unemployment rate there is down to 6.1. I want to caution us on unemployment rates right now. We also have a huge number of people who stopped looking for work. And so I call that the fake unemployment rate because 6.1% does not account for the literally hundreds of thousands of people that have decided not to look for work anymore. So we're going to be adding jobs in Florida, and the unemployment rate will go down slightly, but don't be surprised if it doesn't go down sharply as more and more people realize there's work that they can pursue. And notice there on the top right, open jobs, Stephanie, we have 371,000 people in Florida. I'm sorry, 371,000 jobs that are looking for people, and they can't find qualified people to fill those jobs. But at the same time, we have 614,000 people looking for those jobs. So we don't have as much of an unemployment challenge in Florida as we do a skills mismatch problem. So if you hear me or Kelly or Mike talk about the importance of workforce development and technical training, that's because what we're trying to do in Florida is do the best job we can aligning our talent delivery system with what the skills are needed by employers. In fact, we're doing a massive statewide study on this in our foundation right now. Look at the next number here, 419,200 jobs. Florida has 419,200 fewer jobs today than we had a year ago. Now we've added over 700,000 jobs since April, since the low point of the pandemic from a jobs perspective. And again, consumer sentiment is on the way back up again. And that's obviously, our economist would tell you that's a pretty important development. Okay, in terms of, I'm always asked, well, where are these 419,000 jobs? What sectors are they in? And as you can see there, almost half of our job losses in Florida have come from the tourism, leisure, and hospitality sector, followed only by professional and business services. So Stephanie, we can get you a lot of additional information on this slide, but I just simply wanted to put it up here as a point of reference.
Thank you.
Our focus is relaunching Florida's economy, and we won't be finished relaunching until these numbers are back to where they were at December 31, 2019 levels. Now, here's a little bit of a look locally. I mentioned the statewide perspective. We're at 6.1% unemployment, but here's what Palm Beach County looks like. These are as of Friday when the brand new numbers came in. So your unemployment's rate's a little less than the state, but even still, you have about 46,000 fewer jobs in your county than you had a year ago. So if I'm your county commission, or if I'm any of your city councils, this is what I'm starting all of my commission meetings with for the rest of 2021, to ask the question, what do local businesses need? What does Kelly need? What does the Delray Beach Chamber need? What do you all need to get these 46,000 jobs back in play so that people again can get hired and we can begin to get things back to normal as we come out of COVID this year and next year. Stephanie, as you know, one of the Florida Chamber's priorities over the next decade is, if Florida was a country, we would be the 17th largest economy in the world. And our focus over the next decade is to become the 10th largest economy in the world. So for a point of reference, today we're bigger than Saudi Arabia if we were a country. We want to be bigger than Mexico in a decade. There's 39 things that we have to do in order to make that happen. One is we have to focus on childhood poverty. So in Florida today, we have just over 800,000 kids in poverty, and our goal is to cut the number in half over the next 10 years. And what we've done for you here, you can see in Palm Beach County, just over 18% of your kids are in poverty. That's less than the state average, by the way, which is about 21%. But you have just over 50,000 kids in your county that are living in poverty. The country's too big to deal with poverty. The state's too big to deal with poverty. The county's too big to deal with poverty. So what you're looking at on screen are zip codes. We have 983 zip codes in Florida, and we measure poverty, childhood poverty in each zip code. And here's what your county looks like. And there is a new initiative that we launched. It's getting a lot of national recognition. It's called the FloridaGapMap.com. And Stephanie, maybe we can have a different session at a different time on this, but here's what your county, here's what a portion of your county looks like. And all of these dots that are on the map, if we were actually live on the Florida Gap Map, each of those dots represents a public school that has a third grade classroom in it. And what I've simulated here with Orchard View Elementary School is, if we were live and we moused over that particular school, you would, number one, see how many kids in that zip code are living in poverty, which is really important to know. But also at the school level, you would see that at that particular school, only 38% of those kids can read at grade level or above in third grade. But there's 52 kids in that school that are not reading at third grade level or above. And so we have a massive statewide effort called the Business Alliance for Early Learning that's dealing with reading and early learning. And we have a sister initiative called the Prosperity Initiative. And so, Stephanie, I really appreciate your chamber's interest in this. Imagine if we had 200 local chambers and, over 67 economic development groups really focused on creating economic opportunity for these kids. It's the only way that we're going to cut this number in half. And then finally, Stephanie, I know we have other speakers today. We have to know that if we want the economy to keep going, and as a point of reference, for the last 5 years, Florida has been the envy of the nation in so many ways, whether it's the way we've handled COVID or whether it's the way we've grown jobs. But in the last 5 years, Florida has created 1 out of every 11 new American jobs. That's 2015 through 2020. And that's something no other state can claim. But one thing that we launched last year is the Florida Chamber does not endorse in local elections, but something that local chambers and economic development leaders ask us to do is to inform local chambers of what races are coming up in the next couple of years. And so we created an organization called the Florida Institute for Political Leadership. It's very nonpartisan. We don't take positions on, who should win what race. But we need better candidates at all levels of government in Florida. We need Democrats and independents and Republicans who've run businesses before to be able to know what does it take to help grow the private sector. So here's what you look like in Palm Beach County over the next couple of years. And if anyone's interested in learning more, if you know somebody that runs a business or is a manager in a company that would have an interest in helping you and run for local office, here's what's on the plate, and it's pretty easy to find out how to get involved. I just want to encourage that. Again, from a political standpoint, it's important as we're talking about policy at the state level with the legislature and the governor. or policy at the county level. We have 67 counties and 405 cities. It's important to know kind of what the makeup is of local office. And then Stephanie, just because this is brand new information, and I'm not suggesting it's new for everyone, the country's divided right now, but some people think it's interesting that as divided as we are, Palm Beach County had a larger percentage of votes for President Trump in 2020 than they did in 2016. And again, I'm not saying any of this is good or bad. I'm simply saying this is the political nature of which our county commissioners, our city councils, our state legislature is trying to make decisions. And as you have Mike come on later, I hope all of you will talk with him about the importance of lawsuit abuse reform in Florida. We have the 5th worst legal climate in the United States. It's holding us back. But my fear for all of you on the call today is if you think about, what slows down an economy, frivolous lawsuits will do it. And we're already starting to see hundreds of lawsuits filed against small businesses for COVID. A lot of personal injury trial lawyers would like to tell you that, if someone gets COVID, they must have got it at work. And that business leader must not care enough to have a safe workplace. That's a bunch of, what I would call hooey. And for companies who've been doing this right, you shouldn't you put your life savings into getting your company through COVID. You shouldn't have to turn around and be put out of business from a frivolous someone wants to claim that, they got sick at work. We're in a global pandemic right now, and we're asking the legislature to do a couple things to make Florida more competitive. So Stephanie, I'll end here, but I'll just tell you, whether it's online sales tax, whether it's economic development incentives, whether it's a massive investment in early learning and workforce development, or a continued investment in infrastructure, there's a lot the legislature is going to get right. There's a few things the legislature could do that would set Florida back, and not protecting local businesses from COVID lawsuits is one of those things. And so I couldn't have an economic outlook conversation without putting that on the table. I think it's really important to do that. So with that said, here's how you can download this presentation. Super easy to reach me. Stephanie, I know we're crunched for time, so I'll leave it to you in terms of whether you want to take a question or if you want me to do that offline later.
Oh, I absolutely would love for you to take some questions. My phone's blowing up right now, so I'm sure everybody would love to hear you continue on and talk a bit more. So we'll definitely have some questions that came through. So first of all, I just wanted to tell our audience that I tapped it into the chat, but we have the Florida scorecard on the Delray Beach Chamber website, and we've had it on there since March. So it's a great source of information. So go to delraybeach.com, and at the very top, there's a red bar that says COVID-19. If you click on that, it'll take you directly to the Florida scorecard, and you can see how Palm Beach County is doing with respect to all those parameters. So please take a look at that. And I also want to thank Mark for talking about the Prosperity Initiative. We care deeply about grade level reading. We have the Delray Chamber Education Fund, which is a 501c3 nonprofit that raises money for our local schools. And we tie in very closely to the city's education board, and they focus heavily on the campaign for grade level reading to get everyone at the 3rd grade reading level. I know the Florida Chamber does that as well. So that's one way that we dovetail and we work together. So I'm happy that we're able to do that. So also, and one question I also got is, can we have your presentation so we can put it on our website or send it to our members?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stephanie, the great news is you already have it. And, in my line of work and Kelly's line of work, the more people who have all of these facts, the better off we all are. So please distribute it to anybody who would want it.
Okay, great. We'll definitely do that. We did have a quick question that came through already. And in terms of job openings, we're trying to marry the people that need jobs to the jobs that are available. Do you know what sectors that the job openings are in?
Yeah, we do. In fact, we'll be talking a lot more about this on Thursday during our 2021 Economic Outlook and Job Summit. Look, here's the situation. Literally, I'm going to make a statement that nobody's going to agree with, but all sectors are hiring right now, right? Okay. And so I think when you look at where we're trying to grow, look at advanced manufacturing. We're trying to add 200,000 more manufacturing jobs in Florida over the next 10 years, because as we reshore the supply chain, after the COVID environment. We're going to be bringing manufacturing, logistics, supply chain jobs back to the United States. And what better place than Florida to locate these jobs? So across the spectrum, as tourism and restaurants and hospitality slowly begin to come back, they're going to be rapidly hiring, not in the next couple months, but certainly in the second half of our year after the vaccine is much more widely available and distributed. Think about it. There's no other place on the planet that has more pent-up demand from international travelers and domestic travelers of people who are literally going crazy waiting to get back to Florida again. And so, we're almost all industries are hiring again, from healthcare to education to manufacturing. But I don't want to defer this, Stephanie, but I will tell you, this is an incredibly local and regional situation. What's happening in Delray would be different than what's happening in Fort Myers or Pensacola or Jacksonville. And that's probably a better question for Kelly, because I can tell you she's on top of that. And if I wanted to know what was going on in Palm Beach County, Kelly would be the first person I would call. So maybe she can answer that later in terms of local hiring.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely ask that one of her. I just want to address a couple other questions that came through. Melanie Stefanovic wanted to know what's the strategy for supporting small businesses, creating educational opportunities for children in low-income areas, and I'm going to connect her privately to the Delray Chamber Education Fund, which is what they focus on all the time. So we'll definitely do that. I also got waste management came through, and they currently have 40 job openings for mechanics, techs, and fleet managers, and they also have a shortage of drivers with commercial licenses. So that's something that Don McCormick from Government Affairs wanted to point out to everyone. And there's also Michael Corbett, our friend from CareerSource, who we all know and love here. He provided a link to the CareerSource link of the jobs that are available in Palm Beach County. So thank you everyone for that. We'll make sure that all of our members and our attendees get this information. So yes, sir.
Stephanie, if I could, before we run, I don't want to speak for Kelly on this, but I probably will. When you do what I do for a living and what Kelly does for a living, and you live in a state like Florida that's so dynamic, we have the #1 rated colleges and universities in the nation, right? We're creating 1 out of every 11 jobs. Everybody wants to be like Florida. But our biggest challenge is people don't know what they don't know about Florida and about what's happening at the ground level. If I had one request of your chamber over the next 90 days, it's share the tool, share the Florida Gap Map. Let's let everybody know what's happening in each one of our schools. How many kids in each school cannot read at grade level? And then what are our local businesses going to do? Let's not blame the superintendent or the board, and certainly not teachers, but let's talk about these are our kids. These are our future workers. They're our responsibility to figure out what's going on in each school and what can we do. Same thing with poverty levels. If you look at all your zip codes, I would encourage your members on the call to do one simple thing before Friday at 5. Go to the Florida Gap Map, pull up Palm Beach County, put a dot on the map where you live, a dot on the map where you work, and count up how many zip codes you go through and how many kids are living in poverty just on your way to and from work, right? And then ask yourself, what can you collectively as a local business community do about job training, education opportunities, healthcare, food deserts? There's so much the private sector can do. And I think, I'm not going to say we have a responsibility to, but I think once you see the numbers, once you see the awareness that's there, become free enterprise and private sector economic development. And it's sort of right back to why what Kelly and Stephanie, what you do are so important at the local level.
Thank you.
Thanks for your
We're
time.
definitely going to push that. Oh, I have one more question for you. I didn't want to miss it.
Go for it.
Okay. Mark, do you think the possible involvement with OSHA overseeing business workplace environments can hurt small businesses? Could there be potential lawsuits?
Yeah. So Stephanie, this is I don't know who asked that question, but they know what they're talking about, whoever it is. Here's the deal. OSHA is one of the most important federal agencies. It's there to keep our workplaces safe. And I'll tell you, the only group in the United States that cares more about the safety of our workers than OSHA does are businesses. And, if you think about it, businesses care far less about profits than the safety of their employees. And what the person asking the question is referring to is, in the last week, there's been some messages coming from the new administration in Washington that OSHA is going to take a much bigger role in workplace issues, especially regarding safety. A lot of people are talking about this. And here's the deal. The Florida Chamber is now the Florida chapter of the National Safety Council. And this is something we've been working on now for about 10 days straight. Stephanie, on our next statewide local chamber call, we're actually going to discuss OSHA, and we're going to discuss ways that businesses in Florida can, at a minimum, stay up to speed with all of the potentially changing policies that OSHA is coming up with. And I think, let me just say this. We work with OSHA on a regular basis. They're regular trainers on our Safety Council training platform. And, OSHA in the past has been a really good partner, right? They want workplace safety, but they want to help companies. They presume, most of the time, that workplace leaders want safe workplaces. And I think part of the new insinuation is, if the presumption in America is that small businesses don't care about the safety of their workers, and we start to see policies put in place by OSHA that really take on that level of, it's presumed that you don't care about the safety of your workers, then we'll see a tsunami of new regulations that local businesses have to comply with. And, Sophia from Florida Power and Light has an amazing staff and teams of attorneys and regulatory folks that can help out with compliance issues. So it would be bad enough for the large companies, but small businesses are working 7 days a week just to keep the lights on and to try to stay safe. If they now have to add a lot of complexity with onerous new regulatory environments, we're going to get very concerned about, how much more between COVID lawsuits and new potential OSHA mandates. Let's be fair. They haven't done anything yet other than signal that they're going to get much more aggressive. We want to work very closely with small businesses and OSHA because at the end of the day, we all want a safe workplace. The question is, what's that regulatory environment going to look like? But I have to tell everyone, do not go to sleep on this issue. This is a serious issue, and workplace safety is paramount to all of us. We need to make sure that the policies that are coming down from Washington are something that local businesses can actually manage and can stay in business and comply with at the same time. It's a really great question. In another month or two, we'll know a lot more. Maybe we can have a follow-up for the people who would want to talk about OSHA.
I'll let you. So we've had just enormous amount of support and excitement to have you on today. And I hope that we can invite you back more regularly to talk to our membership. It's been wonderful to have you here. Really appreciate it, Mark.
Well, thanks for what you're doing, Stephanie, and Kelly and Mike. Thank you as well. Look forward to hearing your comments as well. Take care, Stephanie.
Thank you. So I'm also excited to introduce you to Kelly Smallridge. Everybody knows Kelly, but I'm still going to give you a bit of an overview so you get to know her a little better. She's the president and CEO of the Business Development Board of Palm Beach County, where she's worked for 32 years. She serves as the longest tenured economic development president in the state of Florida and has a solid track record in facilitating some of the largest job creation projects for Palm Beach County. In 2013, Governor Rick Scott awarded Kelly with the Governor's Ambassador Medal, recognizing her hard work in creating jobs for Palm Beach County. She oversees all operations of the Business Development Board, which is one of only 2 accredited economic development boards in the state of Florida. And I can tell you, and another personal note, a personal thank you note, I'd also like to thank Kelly and her team for their relentless hard work on behalf of everyone all the time, but especially during the pandemic. As far as I can tell, you guys have been at least working 7 days a week. So you turn out so much input and you provide so much information through your Business Development Board town halls. They've been invaluable. And I think you've got one coming up on Thursday. So make sure to tell everybody about that. But as you can tell, Kelly is highly respected in the state of Florida, and we're very lucky to have her in Palm Beach County. So I'm going to turn you over to Kelly Smallridge, and she can give you an idea of what the economic outlook looks like for 2021.
Stephanie, thank you so much for your kind remarks. It's absolutely a pleasure to speak to your chamber members this morning. And Mark Wilson's overview of the statewide economic outlook is a perfect segue. I've had the ultimate admiration for Mark and his leadership for as long as I've known him. And I will tell you that CEOs looking at the state of Florida closely examine the political, regulatory, and tax environment of which he worked so hard on before they ever even look at Palm Beach County. So Mark, thank you for your hard work in making Florida a very competitive state. I've been asked to keep this to 15 minutes, and so I'm going to dive right in to an overview of the activity that we see in Palm Beach County, as well as the jobs being created in key sectors. COVID definitely has increased the level of activity for Palm Beach County. While some counties throughout the state and the country are seeing a decrease in economic activity, our county, for a number of reasons, is seeing increased inquiries coming from New York, Boston, Greenwich, and now a fourth market that we've never seen before. California is really heating up. So let me go through a couple of slides and then I'll take some questions. Next slide, please. If you're not familiar with the organization, the BDB is a public-private partnership, and everything that I'm going to tell you this morning is certainly not solely the work of the BDB. It's in partnership with CareerSource, the Economic Council, all of our great chambers of commerce, the Board of County Commissioners who support this organization, and 300 members who belong. As Stephanie mentioned, this is an accredited economic development board. It has about a $3.4 million budget. We are not a part of government. We work closely with government, but the vast majority of our funding comes from the private sector. Next slide. If you take a look at Palm Beach County, while Mark did a great job outlining where we stand as a state, I'd like to hone in on Palm Beach County, a population, one of the fastest growing in the state of Florida, of about 1.4 million. The average salary in Palm Beach County is about $53,000, which is the highest average salary of all 67 counties in the state, a key sign of economic success and economic prosperity. Although we all are familiar with the fact that $53,000 as an average salary still is very hard to survive on in Palm Beach County with the high cost of living. Unemployment rate coming down, but still, like Mark said, we have to be cautious about that number, 6%. It probably is more, as some people have just stopped looking. And the average home price is $370,000. Again, another area that we need to keep our eyes on, a very high cost of living in our county. Next slide. The Business Development Board is very unique, and as I mentioned, is a close partnership with Chambers of Commerce and the Economic Council, but we do not duplicate services. It is, again, a collaboration. So this afternoon, I'll be meeting with the CEO, and the list that you see on the screen is a typical overview of the types of services that CEOs require when they come into our offices. So they may come in and ask for 50,000 square feet of light industrial space or Class A office. They'd like information on where their employees are going to live at all different income levels, local vendors and suppliers, and that includes everything from where they will find raw products to manufacture their widget, to finding an accountant and an attorney to help them legally domicile in Florida. What is the permitting process like at the city and county level? What types of grants and incentives are available? What is the workforce like? And this is where we partner with our universities, our school district, and CareerSource. An overview of the demographics of Palm Beach County. And then again, where can they find the skilled workforce? How many people are available to work in their company? And many times they will cast a blind ad locally before they ever set up shop in Palm Beach County, just to test whether or not there's a skilled workforce. Next slide. So I'm going to talk about a couple of different industries where we see the highest level of job growth or the largest depth of cluster development. So this organization develops Palm Beach County's economy and transforms it from one that was primarily built on tourism, real estate, agriculture, construction, and retail, to complementing that, while those are very, very big industries, complementing and transforming that to a county that is knowledge, information, and technology based. So the first industry that I'd like to talk about is aviation, aerospace, and engineering. This industry has 1,300 companies with 20,000 that are employed in this industry, an average salary of about $90,000. Why is it so large in Palm Beach County? Because back in the 1950s, Pratt Whitney, Sikorsky, and Lockheed all set up shop in this county. And when Pratt Whitney landed on 7,000 acres and 1 million square feet of space back in the 1950s, it at one point had about 6,000 employees. And many of those employees, through downsizing and through changes, then branched out and created their own companies. In addition to that, there's a tremendous amount of growth in this industry around our airports. Next slide. So back to the growth of the industry. So here's here's an example. Pratt Whitney, 215 new jobs. Again, this is on top of the 1,000 jobs that they already have. They've announced that they're building 90,000 square feet at their facility on the B line. Next slide. Another area of growth that we're seeing in this industry is with fixed-based operators. So 70 new jobs with Gulfstream Aviation. As we continue in Palm Beach County to see this influx of executives coming in from the Northeast, moving their operations in primarily financial services around our airport, and as part of the growth of this cluster, we're seeing a lot of private jet business. So Gulfstream built this brand new 115,000 square foot facility on Military Trail, west side of the airport. They spent $50 million on this project, and again, 70 jobs at a very, very high salary. Now, the Business Development Board, as the official economic development agency, finds out about these projects from the very, very beginning, when it's just a glimmer or a dream within Gulfstream's eyes. And we are competing for this business with many other states. Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, and Tennessee are some of the states that we compete with on a daily basis. Next slide. Another company that announced in this industry, aviation, aerospace, and engineering, recently announced their US headquarters moving to Boca Raton, is a company called Nano Dimension. This came from an international operation and a California operation, collaborated together and put the headquarters here locally. And on the right side of your screen, they manufacture these panels that appear in technology devices, phones, and an aircraft. Next slide. Moving on to another industry that we are after and where we see job growth is the life science and healthcare industry. As all of you are familiar, back in 2004, Palm Beach County and the Business Development Board worked to recruit two of the world's largest research and development institutes, the Max Planck Neuroscience Institute and Scripps. Max Planck has 100,000 square feet of space, and Scripps has 345,000 square feet of space. Nowhere else in the United States will you find two of the world's largest research institutes co-located with a university, and they are on the campus of FAU. A great partnership and a great opportunity for students attending FAU. In addition to that, and where we see growth, is within our 15 hospitals here in Palm Beach County that serve also as the foundation. If you add those two boxes together, you will see that we are working very hard to build this industry for the last 15 years. And with the certificate of need going away at the state level, you are already seeing lots of growth within these hospitals that you did not see just 5 years ago. Next slide. Further to that point, I'm going to illustrate a couple of healthcare institutes that have made solid moves to expand their footprint in Palm Beach County. Joe DiMaggio built a 14,000 square foot facility on 441 in Wellington. Cleveland Clinic bought 30 acres at the corner of Lake Worth and the Turnpike, getting ready to build a very large medical facility. Mount Sinai set up a large operation in downtown West Palm Beach. Baptist Health came in and purchased Boca Raton Regional and Bethesda. and we continue to see more growth among that hospital. And then the Hospital for Special Surgery, one of the country's best orthopedic facilities, located in downtown West Palm as well. Again, the growth of our county, along with the shift in demographics, is adding a lot to the growth of these healthcare institutes. Next slide. In line with the growth of this industry, we realized there was a gap and what I would call a hole in the life science industry. There really was no place for scientists to spin out of Scripps and Max Planck and to take their pharmaceutical invention and move it into an incubator program. And so we recruited Beacon Pharmaceutical, which is going to be a 200,000 square foot brand new facility at the corner of the Turnpike and Indian Town Road, 137 new jobs, an $80 million capital investment. Big win for our county, and the town of Jupiter was absolutely instrumental in collaborating to make this happen. Next slide. NYU Langone also announced that they're going to add 500 new jobs, and thank you to CareerSource, because as we work to facilitate these very large job creators and expansions and relocations in Palm Beach County, when we're off to the next project, CareerSource comes in and sits down and works with these companies to fill the jobs. They've taken 100,000 square feet on Quantum Boulevard, and we only continue to see more growth among NYU. Next slide. Next industry that we are after is corporate headquarters. There are over 75 corporate headquarters, and this is really where the money is, because this is where the C-suite of executives reside. And so there are, like I said, 75 plus. Half of those fall in the city of Boca Raton. You can see some of the big ones. Next slide. New to our area, fairly new, and a new win within corporate headquarters. At the corner of Donald Ross and I-95 is the headquarters of Carrier Corporation. Again, another multi-billion-dollar company that selected Palm Beach County among 8 different locations that they were considering in the United States. We were able to rise to the top and win this. This is called the Center for Intelligent Buildings. And what I like about this project is we received the lead again when it was a glimmer of hope within United Technologies' strategic plan to build a center whereby they could put all of their building technologies, meaning security, fire, alarm, escalators, elevators, and many other technologies in one showcase building, so that developers and builders throughout the world could come to this facility and see the integration of all of these engineering and technology systems and stay in our hotels, spend money, and come to Donald Ross Road. And the average salary of that particular facility is well over $100,000. Next slide. Another recent corporate headquarters win for Palm Beach County is Misfits Gaming. And if you have children that stay up all night like I do, young teenagers playing Fortnite, this is a very, very big industry called esports gaming. They brought in a international location and a California location and combined it and moved their corporate headquarters to Boca Raton. They took 18,000 square feet, and these young men on the screen make an average salary of $95,000. Misfits Gaming owns 2 esports gaming teams. Florida Mutineers is one of them, but again, a big industry, and we were happy to land in that corporate headquarters in Boca with very high salaries. Next slide. Another corporate headquarters win recent to Palm Beach County, specifically Boca Raton. This company was formed in the 1800s. It is a retail operation of groceries and other retail products. They had a California operation, a Canadian operation. They combined and moved their Canadian international corporate headquarters to Boca. Again, 35 jobs. And while the average salary of Palm Beach County is about $53,000, again, the win, and as part of our economic strategy, is to bring in these higher paying jobs. This company pays well into the 6 figures. Next slide. Moving on to another industry, and I'm sure you are all familiar with the faces on the screen, but where are the jobs being created? Part of our strategy to diversify is to bring in more communications and technology companies. So on the left is Modernizing Medicine, Dan Kane. We started working with Dan when his company had 2 employees, and today they are at 900 employees. If you go to a dermatologist, an optometrist, or an ophthalmologist, the iPad that Dan is holding, when you go into the doctor and they're doing everything electronically on this pad, the software for that was developed, some of that was developed by Modernizing Medicine. Again, a partnership with FAU, a big win for our county, and Dan is actually a product of the Palm Beach County Public School System. Moving on to the middle, 3C Interactive. If you're at Walgreens and you receive a text that your prescription's ready, or if you're at a Miami Dolphins game and they ask you to text this number to win a prize, some of that technology was developed by 3C Interactive, headquartered in Boca Raton. If you are at a hospital, or if you're going into a public government facility and you have to swipe your thumb, the cross-match technology located in Palm Beach Gardens, that was developed in the north part of our county. Again, part of the Business Development Board strategy to diversify and to have this cluster-based economic growth platform. And this is another industry that we see a tremendous amount of opportunity in. Next slide. Logistics distribution is another industry. As we continue to see our population increase, and as distribution facilities need access to a growing population, the beautiful thing about Palm Beach County is that you can be in the center of 8 counties. And we are seeing these facilities each have 200,000 to 300,000 square feet per facility. Next slide. An example of growth in this industry is what you see on the screen. Amazon now has 3 facilities. 1 million square feet is under construction and the concrete was just poured at Palm Beach Park of Commerce. Amazon also opened up a 75,000 square foot facility on North Military Trail in Boca Raton. They have a 3rd facility at Jog Road in Belvedere. They're working on a 4th facility in the village of Gulf. And I am aware of 3 other facilities that they are looking at, and that is just the beginning. I would guess that in 5 years from now, we could see Amazon with as many as, at bare minimum, 10 facilities in our county of all different sizes. And each facility handles a different type of product. Some are large package products and others are small package products. Next slide. Another example of a project that we facilitated, again, in competition with other states, was a 400,000 square foot Niagara water bottling plant, built to suit, a couple 100,000 square feet. Again, a lot of help from the county on expedited permitting. Most of these companies do not receive incentives to move to this area. Getting them up and running is the biggest incentive, and beating out all of the other counties in terms of speed is sort of our secret sauce. And again, Career Source was a big help with this. Next slide. One of our initiatives in terms of how do we get leads? So we, of course, market nationally and internationally. We are the only partner in Palm Beach County to the governor's Enterprise Florida. We get leads from banks, attorneys, brokers. So many leads come in from all over the place that we spend a lot of our time responding, but we're also proactive. And then about 10 years ago, we came up with this very creative means of getting leads, and that was studying the homes along the ocean and who the homes belong to. And that yielded 173 CEOs that had homes in Palm Beach County with no business presence. And that creative marketing strategy has landed us all over CNN, Fox News, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, with the creation of 2,500 jobs to this area. Next slide. This is one of the greatest marketing strategies, to the point of the earlier slide. So the result of that is 75 financial service firms have moved to this area. While the PowerPoint is not available, I'll give Stephanie a different version. This particular box of 75 firms that have moved in the last 5 years is on our website right now. But the average salary of this industry is well over $1 million. Next slide. Along the West Palm Beach area, in areas of Boca Raton and in areas of Palm Beach Gardens where you find new office space, a lot of these hedge funds family offices, wealth management and private equity firms are moving in, a completely new fabric that it's adding to our county that is yielded now. We are at 42 billionaires in Palm Beach County and 71,000 millionaire households. Next slide. Elliott Management is a recent relocation, again within this industry, a $40 billion hedge fund, one of the largest in the country, and they'll be moving to downtown West Palm Beach. Next slide. Another win, and I'm giving you some new wins right out the gate, hot off the press. Virtue Financial, this is Doug Sifu, announced he's moving his corporate headquarters out of Wall Street in Manhattan, now to Palm Beach Gardens and the DeVosta Towers along PGA Boulevard. Doug is one of the owners of the Florida Panthers. They're bringing in about 50 new jobs. Many of those are relocating, so they're buying homes. They're putting their children in public and private schools. The ancillary economic impact is very, very large. Next slide. Another win for our county going to Boca Raton. Hot off the press, Wealthspire Advisors announced that they're moving out of California to Palmetto Park Road, 13 offices in 9 states, again, with 71,000 millionaire households and the ability to work from your home and the advantages of technology and executives no longer wanting to go up 60 stories to a high rise in Manhattan. We are seeing increased activity from these types of firms. Next slide. Very quickly through the pipeline, we're working now, and this is why we're so bullish on Palm Beach County, 21 companies that are interested in expanding or relocating to this area over the next 9 months. They will create 3,000 new jobs. They will take about 1.8 million square feet and spend 290 million. And you can see the areas where the jobs will be created. Next slide. Prospects in the pipeline, and we hope these are part of the wins that we hope to accomplish in the next 9 months. We are super close to announcing a financial service firm called, and we give it code names, Project Washington, moving out of the Northeast, 600 new jobs. We only see a firm of that size maybe once every 8 to 10 years. They've selected a facility in downtown West Palm Beach. And again, very hopeful. I'm working on the press release as we speak. Very hopeful we will announce that in the next month. Another medical device company looking at the north end of our county with 50 jobs retained and 100 new. Next slide. We're also working on another life science company looking at the north end of the county, an e-commerce facility, 200 jobs, financial service company, 5 jobs. Next slide. We have a huge focus out in the Glades. While we have a 6% unemployment rate on the East Coast, we have a 28% unemployment rate on the West Coast. Also today, I'll be putting, hopefully, the finishing touches on, in my 3 decades of doing this in the county, probably the largest project that we have ever worked on for Belglade, South Bay, and Pahokee. It will be 140,000 square foot built to suit, and everybody who wants a job could have a job at this company. And we're working very closely with the City of Belglade, Career Source, and Palm Beach State College to land this. And then you can see others that we're working, 270 new jobs, Boynton Beach, 560,000 square feet of new space. Next slide. Here are some of the companies also that we've announced. Some of them I've mentioned already. Next slide. More companies that are growing their operations. So as you look, whether you're in real estate, banking, an attorney, it doesn't matter what line of work you're in Palm Beach County, everybody is impacted by the growth of these economic development projects. Next slide. Here's my contact information. Our website has all of this information located on it. While our country is among some of the most challenging times, I think we're all very blessed in Palm Beach County to have a great area that so many executives throughout the United States are looking at moving to, but we still have a lot of work. So Stephanie, thank you so much for the opportunity to present and for being such a great partner to the VDB.
Stephanie, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yeah, I took my video off, but yeah, I knew I was going to have a dumb operator here at some point. Anyway, thanks, Angel. Thank you, Kelly, so much for joining us today. I said earlier that we're so lucky to have Kelly and her team in Palm Beach County, and you can see why. All of the projects that we're working tirelessly on to bring businesses and jobs to Palm Beach County. We've certainly seen a lot of financial firms starting to set up shop in Delray Beach, and the real estate market is quite hot here too, because they love to find a place in Delray Beach to live because it's such a great, fun, small town. We got a few notes in the Q&A, so I just wanted to mention, this is really important, that Men in Development and Click Hospitality that are located in Delray Beach, they're opening the Delray Beach Market very soon. That's probably coming in March or April, and the Ray Hotel later this year, and that's going to create 150 to 200 jobs. So that'll be coming soon. So we're very excited to have them here and for the development that they're doing here for us. So I wanted to open it up to, wait, we've got some more things coming through. Yeah, lots of great comments about the great information that the BDB is sharing. I also wanted to ask you a quick question, Kelly. You have a wealth of information. How can our local chamber businesses become involved with the BDB? What can we do to stay involved? How can we help? How can we get this information too?
So how you can help, we are always looking for leads on companies that are looking to grow their operations. I barely touch the surface of the growth in the projects that we're working. But I have a staff of 15 that is constantly looking for executives who want to set up shop in our area to provide jobs for residents. So anyone that wants to reach out and give us that information, we work free of charge for these executives and on a confidential basis. So we automatically sign non-disclosure agreements. How can you get involved? This is a membership-based organization, and anyone that wants to become involved in the economic activity that you see here, you can go to our website. We have 35 events a year. As you mentioned, Stephanie, we have a virtual event on Thursday, but during a normal year, we are doing in-person events where we are constantly marketing the assets of Palm Beach County, but we're giving our members the opportunity to meet all of the executives that are moving into the area. So membership information is listed on our website.
Okay, that's excellent. So I'm going to turn it over now to Angel. Thank you so much, Kelly. And we're going to hear from Mike Caruso. So Mike's taped a message for us because he's literally in transit to Tallahassee right now. I think you heard him and Walter piping in there earlier during Kelly's presentation. So they're definitely here to be able to answer questions for you. But I'm going to turn it over to Angel now to set up that video.
Good morning, everyone. I'm State Representative Mike Caruso. First, I want to say thank you to President Stephanie Immelman and Director Vasquez for inviting me here this morning. Another beautiful day in Delray Beach, and I'm excited to take part of this chamber breakfast. And I'm missing the coffee and breakfast this morning. But I'm driving up to Tallahassee to go to a committee meetings this week, and unable to attend. My apologies, and I just wanted to bring you up to date on what's going on in Tallahassee. First off, District 89 runs from Boca Raton all the way to Singer Island. It's mostly along the coastline. It's about 250,000 people, and it keeps me busy, especially with COVID crisis. We filed that we helped individuals throughout our community get over 2,000 unemployment claims, and I want to thank my staff, Alexa and Walter, for making that happen throughout the whole process. Of course, other issues also, but we were dealing with those too. So begin with, let's recap the 2020 budget that was approved in the last session. The final budget that was put in place was $92.2 billion. It started out at $93.2 billion, but the governor vetoed $1 billion, of which most were an accumulation of appropriations that had been requested by different representatives throughout the state. Personally, I had only a couple million of my appropriations vetoed by the governor. And between my first year in session and this year in session, I've brought back to Palm Beach County over $72 million of appropriations for different organizations and different cities throughout the district. It's quite a budget for the third largest state in the country, $92.2 billion. And if you think about it, Florida has more individuals, more residents than the state of New York, but we've got about half the budget, and they even borrow on top of that. So their budget's at 177 billion. They're the fourth largest state in the country. We are the third, and we're at 92 billion. So we're doing something right here. Very conservative when it comes to balanced budgets and fiscal responsibility. If you break that budget down, then we spent more than a third of the budget, $39 billion, on healthcare, $26 billion on education, which includes raises for full-time classroom teachers. We committed over $500 million to increase the pay for teachers across the state. Getting and retaining quality teachers is key to the success of our students. And we wanted to ensure that Florida is a strong competitor to not only obtain, but maintain the best teachers in the nation. We invest $8.5 billion in higher education. Our state colleges and universities are transforming the education system by prioritizing affordability and, mostly important, pathways to careers. If you know Tallahassee and what leadership's done over the last 2 years and even this year under Speaker Sprouse, he is emphasizing education with a purpose, education to get a job. And that's where we want our students focused on. Last year's budget, once again, prioritized spending on our environment. We invested more than $690 million for Everglades restoration and water protection, $100 million for Florida Forever, and $6.6 million for red tide research. We also put $50 million towards our beaches. We put more than $20 million towards state aid and libraries, and $27 million in funding for cultural programs. Because as I always say, a city without the arts is just concrete. And that's what makes us up, that holds our society together, is the things that like the arts that make us unique. Another priority that hits locally here in Palm Beach County is substance abuse and homelessness. And if you know, I've sponsored a number of bills over the years with regards to sober homes and the opioid crisis. And so I was happy to see that we invested more than $81 million in the state opioid response and overdose grants. As you know, I've sponsored these bills over the last and got signed into law bills on addressing the opioid crisis. This year, I'll be doing the same thing. An important budget-related bill we passed was the tax package. I sat on Ways and Means last year, and we passed a tax package, which the governor already signed. The tax package keeps Florida's tax climate among the best in the nation. It reduces some taxes like communication service tax and included popular sales tax holidays for the back to school and hurricane seasons. I do want to get real for a moment. I talk about expectations. While we continue to endure the effects of COVID-19, both our health and through our health and our finances, Florida revenue is definitely taking a loss as well. The state spending plan we passed in March stayed in place because we reserved over $3 billion and planned ahead by setting aside $60 million to address the coronavirus itself. So with $3 billion in reserves, we weren't ready for the significance of a COVID vaccine, but we were ready for something. With no state income tax, Florida's budget relies heavily on sales tax, and that's a cause for concern right now. In the past 10 years, in the past years of economic hardship, legislators have made tough decisions to make sure that we meet our constitutional requirement to balance the state budgets while not having to raise taxes on hardworking Floridians. And during more recent times of economic prosperity, we kept a rainy day fund full. This forward thinking, keeping healthy reserves and spending conservatively help prepare us as we continue to weather the economic storm. Looking towards the 2021 legislative session, all eyes are on the budget, which is expected to have a $3.3 billion general revenue shortfall. We look to make up this shortfall via items like the implementation of the internet sales tax, a sales tax amnesty bill, and a 6% budget cut as requested by the governor from all state departments. And finally, with the process of vaccination underway, the prospects for this year's budget look much brighter than they did, say, in July in the middle of the COVID crisis. Although some would say, and I probably agreed on, we're still in the middle of the COVID crisis. Although I serve on 5 committees, 2 of which I vice chair, I'm proud to inform that I will be serving on Ways and Means and vice chairing Finance and Facilities as a CPA to deal with these budget issues. This year I'll be filing 7 bills. The first bill I'm proud to introduce this session is a peer-to-peer rental services bill. The current situation is that car rentals are subject to a $2 per day rental surcharge for the first 30 days of their rental, with some exceptions. A member or a car service company pays $2 if the rental is at least 24 consecutive hours, and $1 if it's for less than 24 hours. Under current law, a car rental is subject to sales tax and local discretionary tax. Peer-to-peer car sharing services allow vehicle owners interested in renting their vehicles to register as hosts. The peer-to-peer company then connects the host to a potential renter to discuss rental fee based on time and location. According to the Department of Revenue, vehicle owners who earn money on this service are currently required to remit rental car surcharge and sales tax, but that's not often the case of what really takes place. Under the law I'm proposing, the law will require peer-to-peer companies to collect this sales tax and the payment of the $2 per day rental surcharge. To look at the most popular of these peer-to-peer programs, one of them is Turo, which hosts over 23,000 renters. Based on the figures that estimated by the Department of Revenue staff, sales tax the state could collect on the low end is $191 million, and on the high end is $656 million a year. And that's what we've been missing out on. And that does not include the $2 a day surcharge. So there's no reason the peer-to-peer site should be exempt, and the benefits to the state go without saying. And at this time of the states of our lives, with the budget the way it is, we need every dollar. So and these are just dollars that they should have been collecting anyway. So it's not a new tax, it's not a new surcharge, it's something that we should have been collecting all along. My bill will allow that to be mandate that it be collected. Another bill I have focuses on criminal justice reform. And basically what it is it makes first possession of marijuana a civil citation. This will reduce the number of people that are in our prisons. It'll save the state money. And I think it's a more fair approach to criminal justice than putting first-time offenders in prison. So I think it's a punishment that fits the crime. Another aspect of the bill reduces the game time to inmates to 75%. Currently, it's at 85%, and to receive this game time of 75 to 75%, an inmate who works diligently, participates in vocational or academic training, and engages in positive activities while not being a disturbance to the rest of the prison community, can reduce their time to 75% of what they were assessed in court. This applies to nonviolent felonies with good behavior, and this is a step towards chipping away at overly harsh sentencing and reforming the justice system to be more about rehabilitation than just time served. Another bill that I've been focusing on that I filed deals with continuing the work on the sober home task force, which I sat on under General Ashley Moody. I was so honored to be appointed by the governor to that, and working with Palm Beach State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg and Al Johnson, who have been integral in coming up, developing this legislation. The bill will continue to clean up the sober home industry, get rid of the bad actors, and reforms that we have in mind are creating a 3rd-degree felony charge for applicants who willingly, knowingly, and intentionally make false claims on their license application, basically cracking down on these bad actors. And another reform to clean up the sober homes on an adequate punishment for violators. A licensed sober home, if they lie in their application, and they can now receive fines for up to $1,000. And if they don't pay the fines, be assessed another $55 a day. And after 60 days of not paying the $1,000 or the $55 a day, they can have their license suspended or revoked. Other bills I'll be sponsoring involve healthcare, FICPA legislation, and again, the opioid crisis with the implementation of an internet sales tax. Florida will finally put all brick and mortar local businesses on an equal playing field with those internet corporations. Let's see, as vaccines roll out, continues across the state, so too will the prospects of a bigger budget. I don't see us, it's projected that our complete healing from the COVID won't end in terms of a budget perspective until 2024. Hopefully some of the things we do can speed up that time. And, you know, Florida's in a much better position due to our conservative spending practices that lead to our reserves, and Florida's in a better position to recover compared to other states. We won't need bailouts or any borrowing. So that's the good news is we don't look to, you know, we don't need to borrow any money, no bond issues or things like that. The legislative session will, that we will pass another balanced budget again, I'm sure. It'll be in the $89 billion range probably. And we'll come away from the hardships of we should come away from the hardships of 2020 stronger and better. With hundreds of Northerners moving to Florida and to Delray Beach, we are poised for significant growth in the days to come. And with that, I'll yield to questions. I think I'm going to be phone calling in. And so I'll take a couple questions. I'm going to be driving at about 70 miles an hour up the turnpike when I take this call. So bear with me. We'll try to make it work. Hopefully I'll be in a zone that I have service. But if not, have a great day. And if so, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
Mike, you're so great. I really appreciate having you on today. I don't know, I'm sure you can tell by that he is completely in tune with our community and the issues that we face. And he does work tirelessly on behalf of this constituency. I can tell you that whenever he's in town, you can see him at a chamber member grand opening or some of our other chamber events. So we really appreciate that. And he's always available. If you have any questions for any of his constituents, definitely you can feel free to call him. So I think, I had one question while we were teeing some things up. So Walter, I heard you zoom in earlier. So I'm just going to ask a quick question and then we'll open it up to anyone else who wants to ask questions. So my team always calls me the Mass Crusader because I know that our economic development's not going to get back on track until we get this health crisis under control. But I was wondering if you had any other advice that normal people can do to help businesses get back on track. You there, Walter? Bear with us for a minute, guys.
Walter and Mike, I know that you guys are driving. If one of you is able to unmute yourself, we are ready to take questions.
Okay, sounds like that's not going to work today, unfortunately. But Mike is always available to speak to everyone. So we're super happy to have him today, and we'll make sure to share his information. If you have any questions for Mike, we can get them directly, and he's super responsive. He'll get right back with you. So do you want to do chamber announcements?
Can you hear me?
Angel? Yes.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Mike. We've got you. We just had a quick question. We can't get the businesses back on track until we get the health crisis under control. So in addition to masks and things, is there anything else that individuals or businesses can do to help speed this along? And do you have any update on the vaccine rollout?
Oh, well, let's see. Let's start with the first part of that question. And I'm assuming you can hear me. So we'll just do one more sound check.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. You know, I think, you know, we need, as you know, I've been pushing for a mask mandate throughout the state since I think last April 1st. And I've actually had I've gone up to Tallahassee to meet with the governor on a couple of occasions to try to get him to do it. And my last occasion, I tried to encourage him to at least do it in Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade counties. But obviously that went unchecked by the governor. He's not in favor of a mask mandate. So it's up to us, our own personal responsibilities, to continue as challenging as it is, as frustrating as it is. We need to continue wearing our face masks, washing our hands, social distancing, and just being cognizant of everybody's needs and fears. I hear it every day from elderly people that call me up. They have genuine fears, and there's two parts of our population. There's those that are really scared about the virus, and then there's those population that part of the population that doesn't, thinks it's all trumped up and overrated. I just want to tell everybody that no matter which side of the fence you're on, I promise you that people that call me up have a genuine fear, and out of respect for your fellow human being and fellow citizen, fellow neighbor from Delray Beach, we need to be cognizant of that and respectful of that. So wear your mask and stay socially distant. As opposed to what can businesses do? I think they're doing a great job. When I see, I go into a restaurant or something, all the waiters and waitresses are wearing masks. I know they're I see them with the hand sanitizers, gloves on, things like that. If they see something that's out of the norm or people congregating at the bar too closely, I know managers come over and split people up, and so that's good. We need more of that, though. With regards to and businesses can continue to encourage people to work from home through Zoom meetings like we're having today, and I think the chamber sets a good example today in doing it, and we need to continue that as much as possible, because I can tell you that the manufacturers are averaging 1 to 2 million of COVID vaccines a day manufacturing. You divide that into 365 million Americans alone, and that's going to take at least a year. We need to be patient. We need to maintain our practices to prevent spread of COVID, because it's going to take longer. So I think the main word here is patience and persistency. I find that the people that are getting the vaccines are the ones that are persistent. They don't just log in once and try to get their vaccine. The moment the appointments open up, they get on it. They're making phone calls. They're having 10 of their friends make phone calls for them, that sort of thing. When they go to these, like the Hard Rock Cafe that has basically drive-in service, you don't need an appointment. Not the Hard Rock Cafe, the Hard Rock football stadium. When they have drive-in service, or Holiday Park down in Fort Lauderdale has drive-in service, no appointment necessary on occasion. The ones that get up at 4 a.m. and drive down there, they get the vaccine. The ones that get there at 9 o'clock in the morning, they don't get the vaccine. And then I've had other ones that have gone to the park, either park, the traffic backs up for 2 miles, they're in line, and they got there around 7 o'clock or something like that, but they're still part of that line that's on the street. The police come and say, we have no more vaccines for anybody, past this point. Y'all need to leave, and have a nice day. The ones that leave as instructed, but come back 15 minutes later, get back in line, and they get the vaccine. So it's patience and persistency, and make sure you get on the email list. I think it's Walter can provide, if he's on the phone, he can provide that that email address, and you get on that list, and you do get in a queue according to when you registered or sent the email, and you can get on that list and eventually get it. Probably at this point, 3 to 4 months.
Okay, thank you. Patience and persistency. That is good advice in many things in life. So thank you for that. And that's good to know. So some top tips on how to get the vaccine. That's great. Thank you, Mike. So did we have any other questions for Mike while he's traveling? Or Mark or anything else? I don't see any popping up. Okay. Mike, thank you so much. We'll make sure everybody has your information available so they can bombard you with questions later, but you're super responsive, as I said earlier, and your team is really great. So we appreciate that.
And if I could just give out my cell phone number, if anybody needs me, I'm always available, 561-702-9319. That's my cell that I'm holding now. It's the only one I got. You'll get me. And if I'm in committee, I can't answer it. Send me a text, and I'll get back to you. And I appreciate letting me have some time with you this morning. And you guys do a great job. I really enjoyed Kelly's presentation. That's amazing, of all the businesses coming down to Palm Beach County. And why wouldn't businesses want to come to Palm Beach County or Delray Beach? It's the most beautiful part of the world, and we've got so much to offer. So thank you. I look forward to seeing everybody when I get back to Delray Beach.
Thank you, Mike. I've put your cell phone in the chat, so it's out there. Thank you again.
Okay.
So I'm just going to wrap up with some quick announcements on some new things that are happening at the chamber. As you know, we have the Lunch and Learns every Tuesday at 12:30 via Zoom, and we have a webinar that we also put on the website subsequently. So we're going to have on Tuesday the 26th at 12:30, Clearly Durham, which I think, was that already? Have we done that already? Yes. Next. Business and Bagels, we're going to do in person at the Hyatt Place. Masks are required. There's only 15 spots available that we use because of social distancing, but we'd love it if you could join us for Business and Bagels on Tuesday, February 2nd at 8 a.m. It's a lot of fun. Nonprofit Council is a very strong part of our organization, and this year's theme is storytelling. So on February 2nd at 11:30, a busy day, we're going to be hearing from Rich Pollock of Pollock Communications. He's got so much experience in terms of storytelling and PR. So he'll be speaking. It's limited to 40 people, and we've been partnering with the Arts Garage to be able to do some in-person events, very socially distant. So thanks to Arts Garage for that. I know that all of you on this call care deeply about economic development and government affairs. We have a first Friday forum every month, and it's at 8 in the morning. And this month in February, on February 5th, we're going to hear from Vice Mayor, County Commissioner, Vice Mayor Robert Weinroth, and he's going to give us an update on the vaccine situation in Palm Beach County. So you're definitely going to want to tune into that. And every single month, we hear from our partners from the city of Delray Beach, from various different departments. We hear from the CRA, from the DDA, from the police department, from the fire department. So if you want to get up to speed on what's happening in Delray Beach every month, join the First Friday Forum. It's free and you can just zoom in. Just sign up on our website, delraybeach.com. The next webinar that we have coming up is part 2 of our Maximizing Your Delray Chamber Membership. It's a 5-part series to let you know the new things that are happening at the chamber and ways to increase your return on the investment that you make in the chamber. So the next one is on February 16th, and that's during our Lunch and Learn at 12:30. We're going to have a Contacts and Cocktails in February in person at Death or Glory at 5 p.m. on the 17th. You get a free drink, but we're limiting attendance to 30 people, again, to do it in a safe way. So please register on delraybeach.com. And we want to make sure that you stay engaged, and it's very easy to do it. I mentioned the First Friday Forum, but every week on Tuesday, we have a Lunch and Learn at 12:30 p.m. that you can zoom into at no cost. Every Wednesday morning, we produce Delray Morning Live with Ryan Bolston and Amanda Perna. It's a live on Facebook on Wednesday morning. So it's an easy way to stay engaged with the chamber and with your community to find out what's going on. Also, we have a couple of quick things for 2021 I wanted to let you know about. We're going to initiate a house membership. So if you need to get out of your house and you need a place to work, we have a house level membership where you can come and use our Wi-Fi and work at the chamber for a few hours per day during our work day. Along with that membership, you'll be able to have a free rental of one of our conference rooms and get to attend a Chairman's Club event once a year. So we're doing an initial introductory rate of just $100 a month for 3 months to be able to utilize a house membership, but that's limited to about 20 people based on the space that we have in the chamber. So call the chamber or email Lynn Van Linton. She's lynn@delraybeach.com if you'd like some information on that. And our roundtables and councils have been proved very useful in 2020. So we've got quite a few that are coming up. Our healthcare roundtable, our very first meeting is going to be on March 16th. We'll think about all things healthcare. And John Brewer from the Socially Distant Supper Club, he's thinking about initiating a restaurant roundtable later this year. So stay tuned for more information on that. And that's all I want to say. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, FPL, as our presenting sponsor. Thank you, Mark Wilson, Kelly Smallridge, Mike Caruso. We will definitely do this again in the near future. It's been very well received, and we appreciate everyone for joining us today. Thank you.